Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the College Football Uncensored podcast, brought to you by Saturday Down South and Texas Pete. I'm your host, Tyler Huck, and with me, as always, my co-host, Chris Marler. Chris, what you doing there,
Hello.
pal? What's going on?
Not much, man. Just late coming on the show here, as usual. I'm like,
It's not the going I'm worried about.
It's the coming. Watching the Braves game, I got it on the background here. I was a little bit worried that I was going to have to. Oh fuck! I was a little bit worried I was going to have to get you to focus the whole time because of the game, which I'm sure I am now that I can tell. Ben Diesel's back. We're a whole day late.
No.
Oh, I didn't do the other show yet because I didn't get enough responses. We're gonna do it tomorrow, probably, as long as you guys fucking show up. So,
all right. Well, big week, huge week,
fucking huge week.
Matthew Morris in the chat drinking a glass of Angel's Envy. Finished rye.
Angel's Envy. Ooh, I haven't had the Angel's Envy rye. I don't like Angel's Envy though.
Why not?
I don't know. I'm like all sorts of discombobulated right now.
Are you?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. All right.
Let's talk about you for a second. Emotionally, How we doing?
With the Braves?
Yeah.
You know, an ideal start when your ace gets absolutely shelled in game one.
He only had 3 hard hit balls, they said.
Lowest velo of the year, though.
Oh, that's not good.
No.
Speaking of lowest velo, Bryce Young.
What?
I don't know. His arm's not good. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Well, are you hearing anything on his status this weekend?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I got a pretty good source.
All right. Well, outside of that game, there's a lot of other big games this week, Chris.
Yeah.
Which one are you looking forward to the most?
I mean, outside of the Bama game?
Yeah, of course.
Let me look
that
at this.
slobber knocker up in Ann Arbor.
I'm excited for that. I haven't heard slobber knocker in minutes.
It's a good descriptor of Big Ten football.
It always is, yeah. 3 yards and a cloud of irrelevance. That's how I like to describe Big Ten football. Oh, I'm gonna put my mic up close to me this time. See how that goes. Is that better?
Yeah, sounds great.
What?
Uh-oh.
What happened?
All right.
Yeah, let's do
enough.
this. Okay.
Yeah, no more talking to anybody. It was a strikeout of Schwarber and BD.
So I am excited about that game the most, I think. Also, like have you looked at the full slate of games? This is like Bama has a very good chance of losing. I think Baylor might be on upset alert a little bit too, to be honest.
Baylor?
Yeah, they're going to West Virginia tomorrow night.
Maybe.
So
Utah? What about Utah USC?
So Utah USC, this would be incredible because it could turn the entire Pac-12 upside down. The TCU Oklahoma State game on at the same time. Vandy Georgia. I don't think Georgia walks away with an undefeated record after this weekend. I'm kidding about that. So I mean, we're not going to talk about this NC State Syracuse game. Obviously, There's just so many good games on. Like LSU Florida is lost in the entire shuffle this weekend. And that's like traditionally one of the best rivalries in the SEC.
It's a big game this year, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Clemson, Florida State.
Yep.
Now, like, I know you're excited about that one. Yeah, I mean, USC, Utah, like, it's just, it's start to finish. It's really good football. Washington State, Oregon State's a good game. Like the one I'm most excited about, though, without a doubt, is the Penn State Michigan game, I think.
Yeah, I'm interested to see. We'll obviously preview that game. I'm interested to see. It's I feel like Michigan has basically played nobody.
Yeah,
and Penn State. I mean, if you consider Auburn nobody,
which most people would, and with very good reason at this point.
So it'd be. I'm very interested to see what happens in that game. But should we just jump into the slate, or do you have something you want to talk about? All right. Why don't we start with one that I don't think is necessarily thought to be a close game. The aforementioned Auburn, 12 p.m. on ESPN.
Mm-hmm.
Auburn at number 9, Ole Miss. Ole Miss, 14.5-point favorite. Total 54.5. Something I didn't really realize, Ole Miss hasn't won this game since 2015.
Yeah, I told you that in the offseason, that they had not been able to win this game in a very long time.
They haven't won at home in 10 years.
That's crazy to me. Also, you brought up this point earlier. I think it's a really good point. Now we're halfway through the season, right, Tyler?
We are.
Ole Miss has the 111th ranked strength of schedule up until this point. It is the lowest in the SEC by far. I mean, like, there's no one remotely close to it. Georgia's next at 71, which is incredible. But yeah, it's like, I mean, they're not tested. They're not tested. But the other part is too, Auburn going on the road is not a friendly place for how they've been, how they've played over the last, honestly, the last long while.
Well, it takes me back to last year. Ole Miss was number 10 at that point when they played last season. And Auburn was actually ranked. I think they were like 18 when they played.
Yeah.
Auburn won 31-20. Auburn fans very excited. Went on to lose 5 straight.
Weren't they?
Yeah, they went on to lose 5 straight after that.
Tough to do.
Including blowing a 28-3 lead, I think, at one point in the game.
Yeah, I think it's Mississippi State at home. Bo Nix got hurt in that game, but still. Bo Nix, as we know now, is the Heisman frontrunner.
So maybe if you're Ole Miss, you're an Ole Miss fan, you're thinking, wow, 14.5 points. I mean, this is incredible. I can't remember the last time we were favored by this much. So got to be feeling good. Last time they were favored by this much, they were favored by 14 points in 2001. They lost straight up 27-21 to Auburn.
This is to Auburn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think when you're breaking down this game stylistically, both teams are going to run their offenses the same way.
Right.
They want to run the ball. Auburn has, according to PFF, the worst passing game in the Power 5, second worst in the FBS.
What does all that entail?
Just PFF's ranking of passing offenses.
Okay, I mean, because I don't think Robbie Ashford's like, I think we had him. I love what I do for a living, and I love that SDS has given me the option and the opportunity to do it. But I'm just going to say this: our rankings this week have been dog shit. The power rankings, the coaches rankings, the quarterback rankings that have Robbie Ashford as the worst quarterback in the SEC. I don't know if we're just not watching games, but yeah, I think that's bad. Auburn's passing game is really bad, but what's sad, and I was actually on the Auburn podcast last night, the War Report about this, was they don't have another thing. They can't run the football because that offensive line is so bad. That's partially what I was asking. It was like, what does that entail? Is like, does that include pass protection? Does that include sacks allowed? Does that include dropbacks? Like what? Because it's like, and knowing PFF, they probably have a fucking stat for every single one of those, including a time slot and day of game. But
right.
it's just they don't, like, the stat I still can't get over for, like, maybe the worst stat of the year maybe the worst stat I've ever heard. Tank Bigsby having 65 yards after contact and 44 yards total in a game is so fucking bad. Ugh, it's just so
bad. Obviously Auburn 3-3, not exactly the season they thought they were going to have. They did play both LSU and Missouri close. The Georgia game, not so much. Ole Miss, obviously 6-0. Their schedule has been a complete joke outside of a Kentucky team that you and I both have said we really don't think is that good.
They're not.
And then almost lost that game. So for Ole Miss, it's all about, Jackson Dart is continuing to get better, but it is all about the 1-2 punch of Quinshon Judkins and Zach Evans at running back.
Yeah.
Judkins is a true freshman, and he's been better than Zach Evans this year. They've got a very good front on the O-line there, and they are 9th in offensive success rate. So Ole Miss, very good at running the ball. They also have the SEC's leading receiver right now, and it's mainly because of his huge week last week against Vandy. Right. School record, 247 yards. That's senior wide receiver Jonathan Mingo. So maybe he's coming into his own. He'll be a piece. I saw that Michael Trigg, their tight end's out for the year. So
what?
Yeah, he got injured, I guess. How do you see this game playing out?
So this is what's interesting to me is we brought this stat up on Sunday of last week, because this is another stat that's kind of crazy. Take your Carter Nicholson. It says, take your shirt off for the viewers. I was thinking about you the other day, Carter. But no, so one of the things I think that's interesting here is that last week we saw Georgia put up 291 yards rushing. 208 of that was before contact. So 71% of your rushing yards came before contact, and that's a fuck ton of yards. So that part is kind of crazy. Now, I think part of that's because, the guys that Georgia has on their offensive line are really, really good, very big, very physical, and also very, very highly rated and talented and all that, all the above. I don't think Ole Miss's offensive line is like Georgia's, where they're going to maul Auburn in the same way. But make no mistakes about it. Like that is where the emphasis will be, just because of what we saw a week ago. The other thing that's kind of crazy about this is, like, this is what's scary for the rest of the SEC and maybe the country. The country at this point is, the passing game finally got going. You know what I mean? Like, we've been waiting all year for, I've said this stat ad nauseum, but in the last 10 years as a head coach or a coordinator, his last 10 offenses, Lane Kiffin has had 8 quarterbacks who've at least had 30,000 yards passing or 30 touchdowns. And that's a really, really difficult thing to do. And we haven't really seen that kind of efficiency from Jackson Dart this year, but I think we will this weekend. And one of the best bets, I will tell you right now, right off the bat, we're going to give you one, is Ole Miss second half -6.5. We've told you how bad Auburn is in the second half, especially in the fourth quarter. Ole Miss, who hasn't been a great second half team until really a week ago, will pull away from this one, and they will win. Handily, I think, against Auburn, and then Harsin will get fired in the bye week.
Yeah, Auburn gave up almost 8 yards a rush against UGA last week. Maybe not to that extent, but I expect a similar success for Ole Miss. On the other side of the ball, Ole Miss can actually stop the run. They're only allowing 3.11 yards a rush on the year. It's good for 21st in the country. If anything, I think I like, potentially, I don't know, maybe the under, just given that both teams are going to try to run the ball. Maybe the clock runs a lot here, but I'll take Mississippi or Ole Miss 35-17 over Auburn, and I agree. Harsin fired.
Yeah,
on
he's
Sunday.
Gone.
So I'll take the cover for Ole Miss and the under.
Okay.
All right, let's do. You want to do the Penn State game?
Sure.
All right, same time on Fox, 12 p.m. Number 10 Penn State at number 5 Michigan. Michigan a 7-point favorite, total 52. This game for the first time since 1997 that both have been in the top 10 at the time of the game. So it does have a lot going on. I saw Harbaugh was talking about how what was it during like the baseball playoffs the other night, because it's on Fox. Like every other commercial was about Penn State, Michigan. A lot of hype around this game
for sure.
Penn State coming off a bye. It's good for them. They probably needed a bye because they did not look great the last time they were out. They barely beat a horrible Northwestern team, 17-7.
They barely beat. Well, they didn't barely beat Ohio before that, but they struggled against Ohio in the second half of that game.
Yeah, they turned it over 5 times last week against Northwestern. For Penn State, defense has definitely been the calling card all year. They have had a few games where they've scored points, especially against Auburn. They top 10 in takeaways. So they did take away the ball a bunch, or they gave away the ball last week, but they do take away a lot. They're 9th in the country in scoring defense. They're giving up only less than 10 points a game. Oh my God, Philly's on some home run. I'm sorry, 14 points a game. 9th in the country. This is Penn State. They're
13th.
They're 5th in the country in run defense. They're only giving up 82 yards a game. Listen to this disgusting stat for Northwestern.
Where are you getting these stats? Oh, okay, I got that one.
Northwestern, 31 rushing yards on 28 carries.
31 to 12. Tough.
Penn State's held 4 of 5 opponents to under 100 rushing yards. So that's going to be needed because Michigan's got a really good running back, Blake Corum, 125 yards last week. That brings him to 735 yards for the year, 11 touchdowns. I think the X factor in this game is J.J. McCarthy. who leads the country in completion percentage, 78.3%. Stupid.
Yeah.
Now he's not like his numbers aren't great, so he's not like throwing it deep, but still to be completing 80% of your passes is pretty dumb.
Wait, 70 what?
78.3.
Oh shit, I think you said 73.8. That is wow.
Yeah.
That is really good.
He's fifth in pass efficiency. So and he's only got one pick. So he's the X factor because Penn State, their one weakness, they're 100th in the nation versus the pass.
Right.
So I'll go first here.
The fuck you will. Let me tell you something right now. I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Okay. I like the under in this game to start. The total is in 6 of the last 7 is under for Penn State when they're a road underdog. So I think there's more of a classic matchup here. At home, Michigan in Ann Arbor, 11-0 straight up, 8-3 against the spread in their last 11 games. They're also 9-3 against the spread in their last 12 Big Ten contests, 6-2 against the spread in their last 8 versus Penn State. I think Michigan's a better team than Penn State.
Yeah.
I picked them to be a playoff team this year. So if they're going to be, they're going to need to win this game and win it big. I'll take them 30-20.
I know that I've been harping on this for several teams this year, and I don't think I'm going to apologize for it, even though I was wrong about the one about Georgia last week. But is Michigan going to play on the fucking road? I know they played Indiana on the road last week, but it's fucking Indiana. Like I just anyway, I don't get it. Now, this is a lot of people. This is an Ole Miss hat, Ben. A lot of people will call this a helmet game. I'm going to give you a fun fact about Uncle Chris. Do you want to hear a crazy thing about my childhood? That sounds weird because that's never a good thing usually.
If it's about Penn State, it's even worse.
Very, very good point. So I had bunk beds.
I had a friend named Jerry.
That's so much.
Okay.
I had bunk beds when I was little, and then I like put them in I put them separately when my childhood died, and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm too old for this. So I had separate beds. Obviously, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but basically what I'm trying to say is I had college football themed bed sheets for 2 teams. Do you know what they were?
Bama and Penn State.
Penn State and Notre Dame.
Ooh.
Because I think the Bama ones looked like shit. There's I don't want to like crimson. I don't know. Anyway, I just thought
so stylish back in the day. Couldn't have the crimson.
So stylish. That's right. I mean, if there's anything you know about me, it's I love to sleep in style.
It's feng shui. It's off.
Yeah, I've had silk pajamas since I was 4. Anyway, so I think this game is it's like an all-time helmet game, right? It's a really cool. I love the fact they're playing it in Ann Arbor because you have the home Michigan jerseys. I love the Penn State white on the road as well. I don't think that Penn State's built the way that Michigan is built. And I also really don't think that James Franklin is anywhere close as good of a coach as Jim Harbaugh, which sounds weird because I know I don't feel like that's recency bias. I feel like that's just in general. Harbaugh, let's not forget what he did at Stanford. Let's not forget about him going to a Super Bowl and he went to the playoff last year. I understand he's underperformed at Michigan, but James Franklin in big moments has shown time and time again he's not capable of making the right decisions. I would take Michigan. I wouldn't bet on this game necessarily, but I would take Michigan to win. I think they'll win straight up. It's gonna be a lot of fun, man. And you know what's also kind of crazy is that these noon games have been pretty good with the ratings.
Yeah, I've grown to like having a good noon slate. I'm just gonna admit it here. So you got Michigan to cover, but you wouldn't actually take the bet.
I don't have Michigan to cover. I have Michigan to win.
Okay.
I'm not touching that part either way. You know what I've learned this year, Tyler? This is I'm really proud of myself for this. If you don't know or you don't have a feel for one of the games, there's no reason to bet on it. If you look at the SDS post this every week and it's hey, here's our fuck.
No, it's not going.
Okay, it's an out. All right. We're both watching the Braves right now. No, so if you don't have a feel for a game, we post these stupid picks every week at SDS that I hate fucking doing this. And I used to hate me and Mike Bratton used to have to do this all the time where they'd be all right, pick every game against the spread. And it's I don't want to fucking do that because I don't give a shit about this game versus this. I would not be betting most likely on the line for this game or for Ole Miss Auburn even. So like the record's there versus like what we've been able to do, like our picks. You need to start giving out your bets too, because you've had a really good last couple of weeks.
I do.
Selfish son of a bitch.
All right. Let's do Saturday, 3:30. God, no.
Oh, it's gone.
Nope,
it's caught. We're good.
All right. This is going to be, we got to stop doing that.
I know.
Both of us. All right. Saturday, 3:30, ESPN. Kind of a weird but cool game. Arkansas at BYU. Now, earlier in the season, this game seemed like it would be a lot cooler because they were both ranked.
Yeah, 3:30.
BYU.
Are neither one of them ranked anymore?
No.
What happened to BYU?
BYU lost last week to Notre Dame.
Oh. Okay.
Matthew Morris said Huck glancing over the Braves game makes him look like he's being held against his will. Yeah, I know. I'm sure my face dropped when Castellanos just hit that. BYU plus 1.5.
Hold on, real quick. It would be pretty awesome if Castellanos hit that when you were going into your Jerry Sandusky comments.
And it's a deep drive to left. Total 66 in this game. This is the first ever matchup between these two schools. Like I said, BYU last week lost to Notre Dame 28-20 in the Las Vegas game. In a game, they just managed just 280 yards of offense.
That's tough to do. But Notre Dame was coming off a bye, and also their head coach is Catholic now. So, fun fact.
That's good.
Yeah.
BYU 4-6 all time versus the SEC. Arkansas also struggling coming into this game, coming off a blowout loss to Mississippi State 40-17. They were without RJ Jefferson, which they should have him for this game. Arkansas hasn't lost a non-conference game under Sam Pittman yet, 7-0. So that's something to watch here. How do you see this game playing out?
So I've decided that instead of bragging about our picks and the predictions anymore, I'm just gonna wear it just very confidently, and because it should be a surprise at this point, Tyler. That's why you guys watch the show, because of our incredible picks. Like, I don't know, a couple weeks ago when we were talking about how Arkansas was going to fall off, and even though after they had a 3-0 start, that's why you come join us for that, and for Tyler's reactions to Braves games. I think this is a huge game. In the same way you were talking kind of about the LSU-Florida game, I think this is a massive game for both these teams. BYU has not looked, I don't know why I said it like that, but BYU has not looked great over the past couple weeks. Like that 38-26 win against Utah State is almost more concerning than the loss to Notre Dame. The game against Notre Dame was in Vegas. It looked like a respectable.
They were out partying.
Yeah. So everything I heard from our BYU sources said that that BYU all the players were soaking the night before. Every single one of those players.
Our Cougs on the ground in Vegas. Let us know about that.
Cougs on the ground is pretty good, unless it's okay. Anyway, but so the Utah State game. Utah State is really bad, and I know that they played Alabama, and I thought that was a good matchup early on, how they would cover the spread. But Utah State's really, really bad. So I'm gonna take. You know what? I'm going to take, KJ Jefferson's back. It's a must-win game for Arkansas. I'm going to take Arkansas.
Okay.
You a hog man or a coug man, huh? You a fruit man or a root man?
Here's the thing about this game. Arkansas averaging 234 yards per game on the ground. That's 11th in the country.
Love that.
They like that, considering BYU's rush defense ranks 80th in the country in yards per rush allowed. But the Razorbacks, 127 out of 131 FBS teams in pass defense.
100 what?
127 out of 131. BYU's offense, 17th in efficiency. I think KJ Jefferson being back, it's gonna be a good ground game for them. Rocket Sanders gonna have a big day. Mm-hmm. But Provo's a sneaky tough place to play.
Yeah, it's also beautiful.
Baylor lost there this year. Utah lost there last year, and USC lost there in 2019.
Didn't USC lose everybody in 2019?
Probably. Yeah. But before last week, which was a bad game for BYU in general, Jaron Hall, the quarterback for BYU, was completing 70% of his passes. I think it's a high-scoring game. I'm going to take BYU outright, but somehow, no, I'm sorry. BYU's the underdog, but BYU wins by a point. 31-30.
Okay. That's fair.
All right, we'll skip the other 3:30 game for now. Well,
yeah,
one of them.
Yeah.
But there is another one that I think is going to be a great game as well, and that's in the Big 12.
Hold on. I just forgot. We have Mississippi State on this list, right?
Kentucky?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, just making sure.
Yeah.
That's why I trust you.
Oh yeah. I think this would be a good game. Did you watch any of that? Probably not, because you were on the road to Athens. But did you watch any of that Kansas TCU game last week?
No, I did not. I could see a second of it, which sucked. I know that Jayden Daniels was out, and so I saw the replay, or not replay. I saw some of the highlights of it, but I also know that he was kind of predicted. Would you fucking look at? You just move the screen, move the camera to in front of the TV like an adult. Anyway, so I'm looking over here. Are we both looking? We're both looking in the same direction. We're just staring off into this side. Yeah. Anyway, so I saw that Jayden Daniels was hurt, and then I heard that Jayden Daniels was out for the year, which was I don't know, just one of the many fucking ridiculous Twitter rumors that's horseshit that happened this week, like the Lee Corso thing, which we'll get into as well. But yeah, he's not playing, obviously, because he has a separated shoulder, right?
Yeah, but he came out and was like, it's news to me that I'm out for the year.
Right.
So, but he's out for this game. 3:30 on ABC, number 8. Well, he's not playing this game because Kansas is not involved. 3:30 p.m. on ABC, number 8, Oklahoma State at number 13, TCU. TCU a 3.5-point favorite. Total 69.
Shut up. I love it.
Game open TCU -2. So obviously a lot of money has come in on TCU.
Mm-hmm.
I've kind of been operating under the thought that Oklahoma State's kind of a fraud.
You think so?
So Spencer Sanders, who I can't believe he's still the QB there.
Yeah.
He is having his probably his best year yet. He's top 20 in QBR, 12 touchdowns total, 6 passing, 6 rushing. But their D coordinator leaving, Jim Knowles, went to Ohio State.
Did you say he has 12 touchdowns total, 6 passing, 6 throwing?
I almost did, but then I said rushing.
Okay.
They've given up 984 yards in their past 2 games on defense.
That's tough to do.
They were down 8 to Texas Tech last week before coming back and winning. I think they were also down in their game before that as well and had to come back and win.
Yeah.
I love TCU. They're third in the country in scoring. Max Duggan, again, another quarterback who feels like he's been there. He's had 14 total touchdowns in his last 4 games alone.
That's stupid.
Outside of last week, which was they got ripped up through the air last week, their defense has been very good. They've only allowed 13 total first quarter points through the first 5 games.
Love that. I love that.
Yep. I love their wide receiver, Quentin Johnson. I think he's gonna be a first round pick.
Okay.
At home, I like the horny dogs, horned frogs.
What the fuck?
Max Duggan to Quentin Johnston, all over Oklahoma State. TCU wins and covers 38-30. So they get the 68.
Horny dogs. Okay, so I will say this. Spencer Sanders won. Just quick correction. Spencer Sanders has 12 passing touchdowns and 6 rushing touchdowns.
Okay.
So he has 18. He's 18-2 total versus his what do you call it? His interception ratio. So James Spivey says, I'm late. What did I miss? Also, shout out to Carter Nicholson real quick, who said winning and boozing topless, please. And Eric Whitworth, who I think you call Diddy. Welcome. All of you welcome in. So I like TCU in this game. I think so. I put Oklahoma State in my top 10 at like number 7. And I remember saying this to you. And I was like, I don't know shit about Oklahoma State. I'm just throwing them up there because like there are some people that think that with watching this, with watching this entire season play out so far, like the halfway point, that think that the Big 12 might be the best conference top to bottom, which in my opinion is dumb. But
well, I mean, you got Oklahoma.
Oklahoma sucks.
Just kidding.
God, the musical.
By the way, weirdest line of the
better
week
than the football team this year, which I don't say that a lot.
Weirdest line of the week, I would stay far away from it, is Oklahoma -7.5 against Kansas.
Yeah. It's up to 9.
I guess from what I mean, Jayden Daniels is obviously out, and I think Dylan Gabriel's back, but still. Ben Diesel.
Yeah, he's pretty good. No, so I think that TCU wins this game. Max Duggan reminds me of, not only because he has red hair, but I just feel like he's a first baseman for the fucking Dodgers, or DH at this point. And I'm sure I'm just mixing it up with Max Muncy. But at the same time, they're not the same person, I've learned. Max Duggan, Spencer Sanders. It's going to be, this is like a good game, especially with quarterback play. Spencer Sanders has been really, really good this year. I think on the road, like we talked about this early in the year, because Oklahoma State, for whatever reason, took their fucking their bye like super early, and now you got to come off the road after not off the road. They were at Oklahoma State last week, but like after a very much like a very big like emotional win. Now you got to get right against TCU, who like we kind of thought might be in that boat, and was not able to, or actually, going to Kansas. Not really in that boat, because Kansas ended up having, Jayden Daniels out, and it wasn't as much of a difficult game as you kind of thought it would be. I like TCU. I'm not betting. It's out to 4 I'm looking at. I wouldn't bet that. I don't have a feel for it, but I think TCU wins that game. TCU might be one of the best teams in the country, and that I don't know how that plays out with the Big 12. But it'd be awesome to see them in Texas in the. I mean, they're gonna have to play each other anyway, but to see the that play out, I guess, like what do you call it, in the Big 12 championship game. I will say this real quick too with the Big 12. The Big 12 is a lot of fun towards the latter half of the year, because you get ranked matchups like a ton. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Your boys got the TCU season win total of 6 under, so that could hit this week.
You did?
I could lose it.
Shit! Why'd you bet that?
I read it in a book. It was like one of those where it was plus money to go under, and they're like, the article I was reading was like, we could see this potentially happening. Well, if they win this week, they've already hit their season win total as fast as you possibly could. So,
yeah. Do we have any other Big 12 games that we need to talk about this episode?
No.
Okay, well, let's just take a few callers here from the comment section. Eric Whitworth Diddy says Texas is a power school, baby. Anybody with a win over Texas is a serious notch on their belt, which I know
feels like a troll.
Yeah, it feels like a troll, and it is. Like I said, they're no Missouri, but it's a good win. It's a good win for sure.
Yeah. Before we get into the rest of the slate, let's take a quick timeout. Talk about some of these spicy plays we've been talking about on the betting board. Not just on the betting board, Chris, but by Texas Pete. Texas Pete has the spice and flavor that's kicking this football season up a notch.
Woo!
If you haven't tried the original hot sauce or their new traditional barbecue sauce, run, don't walk. To grab yourself a bottle today. Do like loyal listener Eddie Booza and just order a bunch of Texas Pete. Visit TexasPete.com. There's recipes. There's apparel. Just by listening to this show, not only are we giving you great bets, we're giving you this promo code, Uncensored. You're going to take 20% off your entire order at TexasPete.com. Promo code Uncensored. Win big with Texas Pete when you sauce like you mean it. Chris, I will be lathering up with Texas Pete hot sauce this weekend as I watch some of these hot games.
Ooh, I like that. I also shout out to Texas Pete, because I've loved Texas Pete since I was in high school. I told you guys I used to rub it all over my naked body. I'm kidding. I did not say that. But I will tell you. Don't do that. It'll burn for sure. But I will tell you, I've always loved Texas Pete. And one of the things that we came across last week, we gave you 2 taglines last year. And like, this makes me happy, but also disappointed in Texas Pete. And happy because they used one of them, which was "Go Pete or Go Home." That wasn't even the good one. We said this last year on the pod. Do you remember this?
I remember down set sauce like you mean it.
Okay, that wasn't ours. Mine was "Go Pete or Go Home," and they're using it on a national commercial right now. The other one, which is the one they should be using, which is, if you can't stand the Pete, get out of the kitchen.
Love that.
I think out of all of them, it's still my second favorite, but I know they can't put all Pete motherfucker on an actual like national commercial. But I mean, it's still, you know.
Oh, Pete.
My name is Pete. That doesn't rhyme.
Hey, and if you're out there on social media, on Twitter, hashtag on a Peter, not only because Chris himself is actually on a Peter, but because this is, hey, we're out here trying to save Texas Pete. They're being sued by a man who feels lied to because they are actually from North Carolina and not Texas. Let me tell you something, sir.
Yeah, you're probably Frank.
We are sitting on a damn hot sauce. Peter over here.
That man is absolutely not on a Peter. And I'll tell you what, if you want to come on the podcast, you know, somebody brought this up in our comment section a while ago. And it was like, you know, it's actually made in North Carolina. I think it might have been my boy, Robert St. Jean. But like, yeah, and then come to find out, it's I like that, Jimmy Vance.
Love it, Jimmy.
Why does that guy? Is that Ryan Day?
Ryan Day in the chat.
Holy shit, Ryan Day.
He likes the Knowles this weekend.
Also, just as much as I want to fucking hate Ben Diesel for his comments in the Facebook group every week.
Garrett Brock.
Oh,
someone's shitting on a Peter. Yep, it's happening.
Can't say that. He said shitting, not sitting. Idiot. Ben Diesel saying, "Can I sue Kansas City for being in Missouri?" is an all-time line.
It is.
It is. All right, we are sitting on a Peter though, and we're still going to do your best bets. Now, also, while we're on this timeout, it is halftime, if you will, of the podcast. While we're on this timeout, I want to say one other thing too, which is we're going to give you our picks for this upcoming series. But what we're also going to do is I'll give you the best bets. The video will be up most likely on Thursday or Friday, most likely Friday of this week, and it'll give you all of the best bets to play if you're gambling this weekend as well. So make sure you're not missing out on any of the content we have coming up on the YouTube channel as well.
Love it. Let's go to some of the night games here. Let's start with the game in the swamp, 7 p.m. ESPN. We talked about it. LSU at Florida. Florida, 2.5-point favorite. Total 51.5. I didn't realize how tight this series has been historically.
Yeah.
Florida,
Toyga.
33, 32, and 3 in the all-time series. So if LSU can win this, they even it up. LSU has won the last 3 matchups between the two teams. Neither team's ranked in this game, but it's a huge matchup, man. I mean, you talk about two teams who have first-year coaches. Both of them are trying to get into the recruiting game in a big way and trying to compete with the Bamas and the Georgias of the world. And let me tell you something: if you're going 6-6 and 5-7, you ain't going to get there. So both these teams need this win. LSU coming off just complete ass whooping at home last week against Tennessee. Yeah. We're never in the game because they opened up the game with a fumble on a kickoff. Yeah. Florida 4-2 as well. They're coming off kind of a sleepy noon game against Missouri where their offense was just garbage. But they won the game, so you got to give them credit.
Yeah.
So LSU, there's some problems here. I don't know. Maybe we should have had Moscona on, or we should have asked him, but they're down 2 starting O-linemen from last week, Campbell and Dellinger. I don't know if Campbell is back. I know he's in the hospital, but it didn't look like he was getting surgery. But LSU's O-line has not been good this year, and this will be their 6th different O-line combination already this year.
Yeah,
so they're trying to figure it out. Jayden Daniels, I know he's been frustrating for a lot of LSU fans. He's probably the best player on offense thus far, though. I mean, their offense has been when he scrambles around when he can't find somebody open, which seems to be all the time.
Agreed.
How do you see this game playing out?
I don't know. The only thing I can think of whenever we bring up Florida is the people that just insist on still calling him Coach Billy, and it just weirds me out so fucking much.
Coach Billy.
How did this game play out? So LSU on the road, we saw them look really bad early on against against Auburn, but we saw them come back in that game as well. Being able to win with only 5 yards passing in the second half doesn't seem that far from the same type of performance we saw a week ago with Florida, who was only able to put up 60 yards in the first half, like you said. It had 60 yards passing total. I think that Florida should win this game at home. Another team who refuses to go play on the road. I don't understand how this is happening for so many teams in this country. I mean, we talk about Biden's border policies, but I mean, look at Florida. I mean, they won't even get out of their own state. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think that Florida is bad enough at times, especially with that quarterback with Anthony Richardson. I think that LSU is too good at forcing turnovers for them to lose this game. And maybe I'm wrong about that. And I think the Florida defense has really stepped up at times this year. They've also done a good job at capitalizing off of turnovers. But I just think that especially with what I saw with LSU on the road against Auburn. I understand that's Auburn and it's not Florida, and Florida is a lot better than them. But it's cause for concern for me that if you looked like that a week ago at home against Mizzou, I know it's at night. I know it's a huge rivalry game, all that kind of stuff. I just think that LSU wins. I don't know why. Maybe and I'm probably wrong, but I think LSU wins this game. I think it's close. I think it's very, very close. What's the line in this game?
2.5. Florida 2.5.
Yeah. So yet another game I wouldn't bet on because I hate the 2.5. But I would take LSU to win just because I think that they're better. They're a little bit more grown up than I think this Florida team is at this far through the season. The Tennessee thing is a common opponent, right? And Tennessee destroyed LSU and then kind of barely got by Florida in their one road game of the year so far. But I don't think that's what happens this week.
So I wouldn't bet this game either because what Anthony Richardson are you going to get? That's the thing about betting on Florida is he's coming off 2 back-to-back 400-yard throwing performances. One was against, whoever they played, like Eastern Washington or whatever.
Yeah.
But then the other one was against Tennessee. And then he comes into that game and he throws for 66 total yards against Missouri.
Right.
He was awful against Kentucky, good against Utah. I think every Florida game is going to be dependent on what he does, and you just can't know what to expect. I know that UF can run the ball even if he can't throw it. Montrell Johnson, who I believe was Napier's running back at Louisiana Lafayette, is averaging 8 yards per carry, only behind Jahmyr Gibbs in the Power 5.
Yeah.
I know he's good. I also know Florida can't stop the run, and their defense is the worst in the SEC in third down stops.
Yeah.
So, third and Grantham still kind of haunting them. LSU kind of – I kind of am on the other side of it. I think Florida maybe has more maturity than LSU.
Okay.
So Florida as a team is averaging 6.2 yards per carry, which is 4th in the nation. It's the best in their program's history. So I think they can establish the ground game against LSU, keep LSU's offense off the field, maybe help their defense a little bit in that regard. I think Florida wins it 28-24.
Okay. That's fair. I don't disagree with that. I think it's gonna be a great game. It might be as good as the other game coming at 7:30 that night too.
You're speaking of number 16 Mississippi State at number 22 Kentucky. You're speaking of USC Utah.
I am not.
You're speaking of Florida State Clemson.
I am.
I didn't have that one on my sheet. I wasn't sure we would go over that one.
Let's talk about it. It's your team, dude. This is why we have the show.
That's true.
People always tell me, after every episode, you talk about Bama too much. Well, guess what? Guess what, motherfucker? It's my show. That was my Tiger King impression.
That was kind of good.
Yeah.
No, we don't have to dive into it too deep. I think Florida State, I'm noticing a trend with them now. They're not a very deep team. I think they're starting their starting squad they started with LSU is good.
Right.
But a lot of those guys have dropped down, specifically probably our best player on defense, Fabian Lovett, hasn't played since the LSU game. And it's been a trend now, not just even in the LSU game, but in the Louisville game, and then in the Wake Forest game, and then this NC State game, is the team wears down throughout the game, and the back half of the games are pretty scary.
Yeah.
I think if you're going to bet Florida State, it's in the first half. I don't think they have the horses to roll with Clemson for 4 quarters. And I've noticed too, as the O-line has kind of been decimated by injury as well, that their offense has started to cool off a bit from the hot start they had. Could coincide with playing better teams as well. But I don't know, man. Clemson looks a lot better than they did last year. I think DJ has kind of figured it out a little bit. They don't have weapons at receiver that scare me. I think their defense is number 2 in the country in stopping the run, which is Florida State wants to run the ball. Like that's kind of their MO. Their best tailback went out for at least the next couple games in the game last week. So yeah. So no, it's not. It's not nice. I'd like to think that we can win this one, and I wouldn't be shocked if we did. But I'll take Clemson to win, and I'll take them to win by probably 7-10. Unfortunately.
Have you seen the line?
Yeah, it's 3.5. It's weird. I don't get it.
It was at 7.5.
I know. I don't. Something's not right there, and I could be missing something. I mean, but I just
Vegas knows something.
They always do.
And FSU, who has a quarterback with the greatest boy band name ever, Jordan Travis, is going to beat Clemson. Yes. And they're going to do it in dramatic fashion. I can't wait. And then afterwards, guess what, Tyler? Guess what, motherfucker? I got you a present.
If we lose, I don't get it, though?
No, you get it either way.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, cool. Well, I can't wait to be surprised. When will I get it?
Well, I got you. Well, technically, we might have 2 for you. They're both the same present. They're different. It's a hat.
Okay.
I thought a cool hat. Oh my God, I thought it was cool for you.
All right, thanks, man.
But also, real quick shout out to another friend of the pod. I don't want to say sponsor, but it's a friend of the pod. State Traditions, where I got this amazing hat that I got an oil spill on somehow because I was eating a salad that somehow got on top of my head. I don't know how that's possible. I'm not a good eater. I'm a very messy eater. Y'all check them out on Twitter as well. But yeah, pretty cool stuff. We all have free hats coming in.
Love that. Sweet.
I know. There you
Thanks. Go. All right, let's keep it with the night games here. Saturday, 7:30 on SEC Network. Number 16 Mississippi State at number 22 Kentucky. Kentucky a 6.5-point underdog at home. Total 46. It's going to be low scoring, folks.
Yeah. Is it though?
Mississippi State kind of on a roll right now. They've outscored their last 3 opponents 127-55. Will Rogers, 72% of his passes completed through 6 games.
Is he playing?
2,000. Will Rogers?
Yeah. Not Will Rogers. That's not what I meant. You know what I meant.
Okay, yeah.
Well, I meant Will Levis.
It's the battle of the wills. Am I right?
Whoever has the iron will in this game.
The power of will.
Fuck. Yeah. Somebody just heard a
Will Rogers, 2,100 yards, 22-3 touchdown interception ratio through 6 games.
Stupid.
All right, for me, I think where I like Mississippi State in this game is Mississippi State is running the ball about as well as they're throwing the ball. They're 14th. Actually, when you look at advanced metrics, they're 14th in the country in rushing success rate and 15th in the country in passing success rate. So they're running the ball really well, which is, I guess for a Leach offense known for throwing the ball, that's pretty scary if you're an opposing defense. Will Levis is back for this game, which is great for Kentucky. I think they need Chris Rodriguez to pick up the pace for the run game. They're averaging 2.9 yards per carry for the year.
That's so fucking bad. And by the way, just real quick, like since he's been in, like before he was in, they were outrushed in 3 of their 4 games. In the last 2 that he's played, which is against South Carolina at home and then on the road at Ole Miss the week before, they've had a season high in rushing yards per game. But it's not the dramatic increase that you thought it would be, where it was like, like they were going to put up crazy numbers with having the leading SEC's leading returning rusher. Damn it, I'm bad at saying things. Like that you would think would have had the same impact. They had 108 against Ole Miss, who's a good rush defense for sure, but they only had 131 against South Carolina. So it's not like been this like dramatic improvement bringing him back.
I think if they can't get the run game going in this game, I think Mississippi State may walk away with this game like pretty easily. I think that Kentucky's got to keep the ball out of the hands of Will Rogers in that offense.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to be able to. So please get out, please.
It's not.
God. So I'm going to take Mississippi State 31-23. I think they go over, and I think they cover.
I agree. I love the over in this game. 46. So a fun fact about Mississippi State, if you look at what they've done the past couple of games, Mississippi State has put up at least 40 points and also put up, they put up at least 40 points and won all 3 of their last games by 3 scores or more. Kentucky, who has not looked good, and the biggest thing Kentucky's been bad at is keeping their fucking quarterback upright. Like,
yeah,
the
O-line's been bad.
That's what I kept fucking saying in the offseason, man. I kept saying, I was like, I don't understand how you lose that many generational type players on your offensive line and at receiver and then just pick up where you left off. And what's scary, if you're Kentucky's ranked 129th in the country right now in in sacks allowed out of 131 teams. They rank.
Whoa. What's going on in the chat here?
What's that? What happened?
I don't know. Something crazy is going down.
Oh, Jesus.
Tinder,
Christ.
hot, vested. I think we've been spammed here.
Nobody click on that. But if you do, let me know what it's like. That is Liz. She's been doing some stuff on the side. I've got her in OnlyFans. I've enrolled her in OnlyFans. No, I'm kidding. So she's gonna hate that joke. So anyway, I think that like with a Zach Arnett defense, it's gonna blitz and blitz and blitz. It's like that fucking old angry white guy from the white coach from Remember the Titans? I don't want them to gain another. What would have been funny is if the movie took a turn from Remember the Titans, and then you showed them gaining another yard and him just like fucking losing his shit on like
the 1 yard.
Yeah. God dang it. Because they did. They probably gave like another 170 yards. It was early in the game. Right. Anyway.
It's tough to give up no yards.
It is very tough to do that. Yeah. Anyway, that's what my thought is on that game. I think Mississippi State wins. The line scares me a little bit, but I think the line is being extremely disrespectful to Mississippi State, like most of us have been this year in terms of how good of a team they are. I think Mississippi State's a really good football team. I think the way they've been playing, and I understand their strength of schedule hasn't been great. They do have a loss at LSU, but I think Mississippi State's played like a top 10 team.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue it at this point. Now they've got some pivotal games coming up, but this is the first in the stretch of a couple that'll really show what kind of team they are. So we both like Mississippi State in that game. One more night game before we go to the big game of the weekend. Saturday, 8 p.m. on Fox. Number 7 USC at number 20 Utah. Remember, Utah, 2 losses. USC undefeated. Utah, the 3.5-point favorite at home. Total 65. All right. Utah, reigning Pac-12 champion.
Mm-hmm.
They basically are out of the college football playoff at this point.
They are, yeah.
They've lost 2 games. They got beat by UCLA, who it's incredible. LA is having a great season this year. Both teams in LA. USC, 15th in scoring offense. They've covered the number in 4 of their last 6. USC also leads the nation in sacks with 24. They also have the player that's got the most, and I can't pronounce his name. It's like Tilo Tupiyama or something, Samoan name. So
I can't say it like that.
What is it's a Samoan name. I don't like Utah. Like coming into the year, especially like going against Florida, I thought Utah was gonna be better on the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, I did too.
They haven't been as great on the O-line or the D-line, and I didn't think they were impressed against Florida. I didn't think they were impressed against UCLA. And USC leads the nation in sacks. And so I don't know, man. I mean, what's your pick on this? Because I'm kind of surprised that Utah is a 3.5-point favorite in this game.
Yeah. So I think that USC is possibly the most overrated team in the country. I do believe that. I don't think that. How do I put this? I think they're one of the most overrated teams in the country. I don't think that they're necessarily an underdog at a team that just got beat coming off a bye week, I think, right? Or did they? No, that team they beat Oregon State and then they played UCLA on the road. Utah's been tough at home. We saw that last year against Oregon, who was the front runner for the Pac-12 a year ago, just like USC is right now. I don't know if I would bet on this one, but it's odd. It's odd to see a team that is undefeated, number 7 in the country, right? And going to play against a number 20 team that's 4-2 and be the underdog, right? Especially with a Heisman, the guy who currently has the second best odds in the Heisman Trophy race with Caleb Williams. If I had to pick on this, which I guess we do since that's our job, I would probably take Utah, to be honest. I don't feel great in that assumption, but I did watch USC play against Oregon State on the road, and I saw what they looked like in a game where they had to force 4 interceptions to win by 3 or 4 points. That did not impress me, and so I would take Utah to win at home in a place where I think that, like, listen, I'm not Mormon, but I do know a lot about serial killers in the 70s, and Utah's a tough place for anyone to get out alive.
I was strong.
It was a lot. I've been watching the Dahmer thing on Netflix. It's so fucking much. Have you watched it?
I haven't watched it yet.
Tyler, he was eating them people.
Yeah, it seems
not in the fun way.
Oof, got the call there. All right, so something to watch here. Jordan Addison, Blitnikoff Award winner. Mm-hmm. He left the game last week with an injury, so be interested to see what happens to him in this game. I think he's obviously a key player to have. One thing I don't like on the USC side, and why I'm probably leaning Utah as well, USC 0-10 straight up and 1-9 against the spread in its last 10 as a road underdog. Utah.
Say that again.
0-10 straight up and 1-9 against the spread in its last 10 as a road underdog. Utah has won 9 straight at home and 17 straight as a home favorite. Give me Utah.
Money line?
Probably go money line. I don't know if I'd go 3.5. If it got down to 3, I'd be comfortable taking the 3.
Yeah. Okay, I like that.
USC takes its first loss of the year.
I like that a lot.
And now, Saturday, 3:30, CBS Game of the Week. Number 3, Alabama, at number 6, Tennessee. Tennessee, a 7.5-point home underdog. Total 65. We all know the streak, Chris. 15 straight for Alabama over Tennessee. I'll say a few things, and I'm going to let you do your thing.
I'm not going to do everyone thinks I'm going to do.
First off, you said you have some pretty good knowledge about the Bryce Young situation. I'm not going to ask you to give up your sources.
I'm not going to.
I know who it is.
Uh-huh.
I'm not even going to ask you to give me an answer, but I think just by the way that you break this game down, I'll know if he's playing or not. I'm going to assume that he plays in this game.
That's a good assumption.
And you're going to need him. Jalen Milroe, 3 turnovers against Texas A&M last week, kept them in the game. Tennessee 4-1 against the spread with an average margin of victory of 29 points this year. They haven't had too many games where they've really had to battle yet. Alabama, on the other hand, they've had a couple that they have had to battle. They went against Texas. They were never up by more than 10 against A&M last week.
By the way, real quick on that crazy stat, only the second time in the AP poll history, I think, that you've had, well, probably not, but it's like the second time in the last 50 years or 60 years that you've had a number 1 ranked team beat multiple teams by only less than 5 points. So like the 1 point win and the 4-point wins, it's only that's 2 games that so far they've had against unranked opponents as the number 1 ranked team. And they've won by 5 points or less. The only other team that has done that in the last 60 years was 1963 Texas, who did it 3 times.
That's interesting. I like that stat.
Yeah.
Here's something that concerns me for Bama.
The road woes.
Well, there's 2 things that concern me, but one I think is mitigated. So I'll do that one first. Penalties for Bama have been
had
horrible.
A bunch last week.
Tennessee has been worse, so I think you're probably good there. Here's where I'm a little concerned, and where Tennessee could. at least play this game close.
Mm-hmm.
Bama's turnover margin.
What's
so bad? All the way back to 2015. 2015, they were plus 10. 2016, plus 10. 17, plus 14.
They were only plus 10 in 2016?
Yeah. 2018, plus 6. 2019, plus 18. 2020, plus 10. 2021, plus 8. 2022, minus 5. And you know who doesn't turn the ball over?
Tennessee.
Hendon Hooker. Hasn't thrown an INT yet. 3rd in QBR. I think Bama's got to lean on Jahmyr Gibbs in this game.
Yep.
8.31 yards per carry, leads the nation. They need to ride him, and they need to keep Tennessee off the field. If they can't do it, for some reason, Tennessee's got a really good run defense. Their pass defense is horrible. 128 out of 131. They're down there with Arkansas, allowing 307 yards per game. So if Jahmyr Gibbs gets going in this game against that run defense, I think Tennessee's in real trouble. Because Bama's defense I love. Couple things on Bama's defense. What are they? They're second nationally, allowing 3.77 yards per play.
Yeah, they're a really good unit.
Tied is number 2 in third down defense, only allowing
in the country, right?
6%. Yep.
What's up, Justin Colburn?
They're only allowing 0.93 points per drive, which is second nationally. So here's the deal. I'm gonna take Bama to win the game. 33-28. I think Tennessee covers. I think Will Anderson makes enough plays. Hooker does throw his first pick of the year, maybe 2. Bama sneaks out. Tennessee, just so much despair. They're going to be so up for this game. Game day. Is it there? Is it not? We know, but we don't know. I know.
It's there. What are you talking about?
There's all those rumors that came out.
Yeah, and then somebody started a rumor about Lee Corso dying, which is so incredibly fucked.
Yeah, because it's so believable, unfortunately.
Why are you laughing like that, you weirdo? Jesus.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Vols 0-5 against the spread against AP top 5 teams since 2020. I think they're going to be 1-5 now, but they lose the game 33-28. I think Bama makes enough plays in the end to win it. Let's go Tide. Let's hear it, Chris.
Now let me tell you something about this rivalry. Okay.
So excited. You're so excited.
I hate Tennessee. I'm gonna break this down in like an objective way. But yeah, he's been reading. That's
my gig. Welcome to the damn pod, Diddy.
Yeah. We do that. We read stats, and then the other one of us doesn't chuckle the entire time. So it's kind of our strength. Anyway, so I hate Tennessee. And listen, I'm happy for some of their fans. Like, probably, I don't know if I'll regret saying that this weekend. I'm just going to say this as honestly as possible. I grew up in a household. I remember one time. This isn't even like, I guess it was kind of foreshadowing for later, but I remember buying a Tennessee hat at the store. I was like, that's such a cool color. I don't know what I was thinking. My dad was like, take off that fucking hat before you get in my car. I was like 8, Tyler. I was like 8. He like had to manually lock the doors on his fucking shit ass Geo Prism to let me in. So I've never liked this team. I've grown up watching 7 years in a row of losing to these people. 10 out of 12. 10 out of 12. That was my 1995. Those are my formative years. From 9 to my freshman year of college, I watched this team, or actually sophomore year of college, I watched this team win 10 out of 12 against Alabama. I watched Peyton Manning line up do the Rocky Top in the end zone. I watched Jamal Lewis and T. Martin sing "We Own Alabama" to the tune of "Sweet Home Alabama" in our end zone. The second to last time you had 2 top 10 teams.
What a word play.
I know, right? But I will also tell you this. I've said all week, there's just something about this fan base and this team and this football program that I truly believe is breakable. I think they're so mentally fragile because they've built up 15 years of losing to Bama by an average of 26 points per game in those 15 years. Now, and a lot of people say, well, those are bad teams. You know that it was only 5 years ago that you had a top 10 matchup in this rivalry in Neyland Stadium. 6 years. It was 2016. I watched a freshman quarterback then who started the year as a backup go into Neyland Stadium and beat them 49-10. Oof. If Bryce Young plays, Bama wins by over 10 points. That's how I feel about this game. The defense is good enough. If you like, I think Tennessee comes out and I think they score early and all that kind of stuff. I think that the defensive coordinator, who I'm drawing a blank on because all I can think of is Jeremy Pruitt, Pete Golding, and Will Anderson, and the cheetah package, and those edge rushers they put on the field at the same time that put up like 28 QB pressures and 52 dropbacks a week ago. Think about that. Yeah. Hayden Hooker is great. He's a phenomenal player. You get Cedric Tillman back. I've loved what we've seen from Brew McCoy. They've been able to run the football. The defense is playing better every week. If Bryce Young plays, Alabama will beat these people in the second half, and you will watch them fucking collapse like our economy has this year. You will watch them collapse like they always fucking do. They will roll over and die like they always fucking do. If Bryce Young plays. If he doesn't, then Alabama will lose by 10. That being said,
20-point swing.
20-point swing from a Heisman Trophy winner. That being said, Alabama's going to win this game by 10 points.
Ooh.
Bryce Young's going to play. Alabama will pull away late, and you see a stadium full of red-faced, orange-clad, angry fucking drunks. And honestly, I just can't wait to see at the end of this game who gets arrested more, the players or the fans for Tennessee. And we'll see how it plays out.
Is Tillman playing? Is Jalen McCullough in jail? We don't know.
Roll fucking Tide.
All right. So there you
I do
guys
want to say
have
one thing.
Okay.
I do want to say one thing to everybody real quick. And you know I love doing this to you at the end of every episode now and just delaying the end. Okay. This is the best weekend of football of the year. It's the best weekend of football of the year. So send us pictures at tailgates. Send us pictures of, what you're prepping at the house, your setup, whatever, man. Let's enjoy this weekend together. Bama could easily lose. Like Florida State, we could go 0-2 this weekend, Tyler. I don't know the last time it's happened. Probably last year because you guys were dog shit. And Bama lost the game. So I will say it's the best weekend of the year. I hope everyone has a fucking great time watching the games. Best of luck to all your teams. But keep in mind, we only get, this is what I always say about fall weddings, so I don't go to them. We only get 13 to 15 of these if you're lucky, okay? 13 to 15 of these Saturdays a year. Enjoy it. Enjoy the entire day. Don't get up off your fucking couch. That's what Uber Eats is for. Have a great time. And if you are in the city of Atlanta, turn on the radio station from 8 to 9 and 9:30 to noon. And the only reason I say from those hours is because from 9 to 9:30, turn on Fox 5. And I will be on the radio station for 4 hours on Saturday morning at a game day preview show. And I will also be on your TV from 9 to 9:30 on our TV show. So there you go.
Love that. Don't forget, give us a call. Leave us a voicemail, 424-430-0045.
Yeah.
Give us a call. Give us a voicemail. Let us know how you're feeling. I'm sad right now because Ronald Acuna is injured. And I don't know what's going on.
Somebody that has like a throwaway computer, click on this Tinder site and then call the hotline and tell us what's going on here and see how many, see if you end up getting more viruses than Van Wilder did in his 7 years of college.
Oh, man. Diddy, don't do it. All right. For Chris, I'm Tyler. You guys enjoy the week. Big week. We'll talk to you on Sunday night.
Bye, guys.